Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Rank Pips and Combadges series. Yes, I'm now making a part 3 of these because I'm doing more Rank Pips. So today we're going to be starting off with the DS9 TNG era NCO badges, as well as the 23.99 combadge from Star Trek Picard. So, starting off with the rank badges, these were the NCO, non-commissioned officers. So anyone below an ensign, and they were primarily seen in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, as Chief O'Brien had one. So, starting off on the right hand side with the 1 chevron, that is a Petty Officer 3rd class. 2 chevrons is a Petty Officer 2nd class. 3 chevrons is a Petty Officer 1st class. With 1 pip added in the middle there is a Chief Petty Officer. 2 pips is a Senior Chief Petty Officer. And 3 pips is the Master Chief Petty Officer. Just starting off with a flat black for the main body. I'm going to go around these and try and paint around the chevrons so that it makes it easier to paint the silver on in a bit. Doesn't work out that way, but that's what I'm trying anyway. So, these are going to be keeping with me personally because the print didn't come out very well. You can see part of where the plastic melted away and got pushed by the nozzle on the pips. So if I ever to print these again, I would probably look at changing some of the height dimensions. But either way, I'm still happy with them myself, especially how they turned out once I've painted them. So just using a nice thick brush to get the black paint on. So it's going to be a black body, as you can see, with a silver coating for the chevrons and the outer wall. So yeah, just going around there showing you painting around the chevrons there. So yes, all the way through TNG, they didn't show you any NCOs or anything like that. DS9 was the first one to introduce NCOs to series. Remember to subscribe, like, and all that jazz. Especially if you're enjoying these shows like this. I'm painting it off screen again, like an idiot. If I ever do merch, that's probably going to be one of the things on t-shirts, like an idiot. Now on to the Chief Petty Officer. So the Petty Officer was like I say, tends to be an officer, but they're not a commissioned officer per se, so they're not. It's hard to explain really, but they've worked their way up the ranks. They started off as a lonely crew and then worked their way all the way up to the top. You can see I've painted black over one of the chevrons. By this point I'm thinking, you know what, there's so much little space, I'm just going to go over what I can. And then I can paint over it afterwards. And it turns out alright, so I cannot complain. So yeah, just trying to get in between the chevrons with the black paint only. I get it all over my hands again, running out of room to hold things because, you know, the paint's wet and I'm trying to not paint myself. I think more paint goes on my hands than it does the actual model sometimes. So, oh well. I will be doing an article for treksphere.com at some point about the rank structures in Star Trek, going through what all the different ranks mean, what every single different badge means and all that lot. So with having these pips like this and everything, it really does help me because I can take my own photos. If that's something you'd be interested to read, go and check out treksphere.com. Okay, that's then painted now, so just going to clean my brush off, make sure it's nice and clean. As you can see, my painting towards the end was like, yeah, just slap it all on. Remember to dry your brush off once you're done as well, and we're going to wait for that to dry. And of course, seal up your paints. Okay, now we're back. Got the silver paint on. I've just sped this straight up here, so... Yep, there's the chrome silver on this one today. So... Who's this type? I think this is type... I can't remember now. Yes, this was chrome silver. So I'm just doing around the edges first. This has probably ended up as a mistake, because I ended up with nowhere to hold it while I was painting the chevrons. I'm going to leave the undersides as they are, because nobody's going to see those when I'm wearing them. But hey ho, what do people care? Why waste paint on something nobody's going to see? That's just my guesswork anyway. Oh yeah, just adjusting the zoom so everyone can see what I'm doing a bit better. I should have edited that out. Oh well, editing mistakes are my forte. You can see there a bit of the chrome silver just goes onto the black, just runs off a bit, but oh well. And there's my hair in the way. I really do need a haircut, but you know, lockdown. So, all of these were touched up afterwards, don't worry, so nothing's going to be left how you see it. Yes. Yeah, everyone's always on about being officers in Starfleet. I'm like, what about the NCOs? What about the crewmen that run the ship and do all the day-to-day boring tasks? You can't all be ensigns, and I was right. There is more to the Starfleet rank structure than just officers. But hey, it's a sitcom about a spaceship, of course, that's going to focus on the main officers and everything like that. They're not going to focus on the lower decks. Oh wait, they did with the animated show Lower Decks, which is absolutely hilarious. I might do one of their combadges in the next episode. So yes, just keep painting, just keep painting. Actually, painting over the chevrons is quite easy. You get enough paint on your brush and you can just glide straight over and it sits on it nicely. So the grooves from the printing came out perfect. So if you were an officer in Starfleet, what would your job be? If you were a crewman, shall we say? Not just an officer, because of course we'd all know, be like, oh, I'm the captain. But what position would you like? I personally would like to be security. You know, I'm big on my weapons and all that lot, so security for me sounds like the best way to go. So yes, once I painted the pips on these badges, they actually came out really well because the black seated between them, except that one there. But once it dried, I just put a bit of black over the top, and it, yeah, just a bit of black in between, and it worked out brilliantly. As you can tell, I do not script any of these videos. I just watch it and talk over it, so hence why I go quiet at times, because I'm trying to work out what to say. I've had some lovely comments recently on videos, so thank you to you guys. It does mean a lot, trust me. especially with how small the channel is at the time of recording. Ah, there we go. So now what we're going to do is just wait for them to dry again. Okay, you can see my fingerprints on a couple of them, so just clean off the brush. So yeah, just going over the black, just trying to touch it up there. Doesn't work out very well. So, but yeah, that's that. Just drying off the brush. You can hear my printer going off in the background. I was printing a Phaser Type 2 from the TOS. So yeah, just get them all nice and lined up for everyone again. So of these ranked slides, which one is your favourite? I think it would have to be the 3 chevrons on their own. The first class petty officer. Now on to the magnets. So I'm getting one of my bigger magnets out for the backing plate. This is one of the ones I used for the original TNG pips. It's a nice backing plate actually. So I now use some of my more thinner 1mm magnets. These are slightly weaker but do a good job, and matched up with a stronger magnet. Just counting how many ranked slides I've got, so I'm going to need 6 magnets, and there it goes, flying across the screen again. Why do I torment myself with magnets? Seriously, why do I do it? So just speed things up again for you all, because it can be a bit boring to watch. I appreciate that. I don't have much of a setup at the moment, but once I do, I'll start doing something different, hopefully. So first in the main magnet, the big one, the nice strong one. So now I've got to turn over every single rank slide, separate them out so they don't play with each other when the magnets are down. Bit of glue on the back of each one, try and roughly get into the centre. I do make a wee mistake, and just checking I've got the polarity the right way around, because unlike in Star Trek, I cannot reverse polarity. Hey, technical joke. And I dropped them. So now I've got to try and work out which way around they are again. And bug it up. Super glue on my fingers, yay! Oh well. Magnets down again. And now wait for the super glue to dry. And finally, when the super glue is dry, take it off screen like an idiot. And final touch up, just on the rank pips and the chevrons. Just to touch them up on the outside edges and everything. Make sure it's all done perfectly. An officer must always look his best. Just using the back of the rank slide there, the backing plate to hold it in place, just so I can do all the edges without getting my fingers dirty, which doesn't happen, but oh well. So again, just going over the chevrons and the outer sides and everything, make sure everything is done. It's easy enough on its own. Oh, no, onto the backing plate it is. Don't worry, I'm almost done with these now. We're going to go on to something a bit more interesting in a minute. The $23.99 combadge. So of course, links to these are going to be in the description below if you want to download them. To print yourself if you have a 3D printer. If not, contact my page and we can come to some sort of deal. Oop, dropped it. Again. Clumsy fingers. I think that'll be another one of my merch when I get enough people. Clumsy fingers. Yeah, and that's all of that done. So just line them all up for you again. Just to make them look nice. Doesn't happen often, but I try to make my things look nice. And on to the $23.99 combadge. And now a time for a word from our sponsors. Raid Shadow, it's not Raid Shadow Legends, it's much better. It's TrekSphere.com, the place you want to be going for your Star Trek news, as well as brilliant sponsored content from the likes of Triangulum Audio Studios, Rowan J. Coleman, Jesse Gender. What did I miss? Trek Cat, German Trekkie, Orange River Media, and yours truly, MrBenn Cosplay and Props. What can you find on this website? You can find all sorts of stuff from the news, articles about the captains, how to build Lego starships, truth or myth, or even 3D printing like I do. Go check it out. So starting off with X12 gold leaf. This is going to be for the triangles at the back there. You see that is all one piece at the moment. So I've just taken the supports off and that was a pain, so I didn't record that. Well, I did record it, but I decided to not include it. You don't have to see my failed attempts. But anyway, just brush on. Try and go with the printing lines. Makes it easier to paint. I think it's left out. And put my finger down. Do over the last part there. The last part of the diamonds? Triangles? I don't know what shape these would be. Because they're kind of three shapes, so I would call them triangles. Now over the edges, I know part of these are going to get covered up by the delta as it is anyway, but I still want to make it look nice, so this is going off to a friend of mine over in Canada. And I've probably just offended him by going Canada, but oh well. It's a good laugh having friends. At least I can still communicate with people. And clean off my brush in that nice new clean water, which is now going to be very gold. And then moving on to a nice chrome silver for the delta. I realise I'm actually holding these pots up what could be classed as upside down for you, but the right way up for me. So, oops. Because the camera is actually sat in front of me looking down, so yeah, that's why my hands always come from the top, because to me that is the bottom of the screen. Oh well, it's confusing, but oh well. And now painting the delta. This is a nice silver colour, nice and easy to do, nice thin bit. But then the problem comes that I haven't got anywhere to hold it, so it just moves about all over the place. Now put my fingers on the edge of each corner and just do the edges. And there we go. Wait for that to dry. Just clean up my brushes again. Flippity all over the place. We're getting the super glue, using the Gorilla Glue again. Just glue along the edges where I can. Just put a couple of dots in. I'm not going to use too much because it will spread everywhere and make the delta look horrible. But either way, just squeeze it in. Use a clamp, try and push it into place. And get another one just to... I use the pressure just to squeeze it into final place. Make sure it joins up with the two parts nice and neatly. Went alright. And now we wait for the glue to dry. And now final bit to touch up. Oh, no, magnet, sorry. I've just done the touching up actually. Hence why the brush was being swirled in the water, but hey ho. So there's going to be 4 disc magnets on here, 2 on the backing plate from the TNG badge I printed in the other episode, and 2 on the delta, and there goes the magnets. So just flip it over, split them off. Just try to work out which way round they're meant to be going, and out comes the Gorilla Glue again. So first one down. And there is no glue. Ah, there we go, there's a little bit of glue. Put that, so split those off. Glue them down. And just glue. Come on, glue. Put more glue. Put those over what would be the magnet holes, and we are done. There we go. And then during post-production I realised I'd painted the badge completely wrong, so now I'm giving the gold a black paint. And that is us for today. Thank you and good night.